Okay, so if you've been looking at the incredibly crowded AI landscape lately and feeling completely, utterly overwhelmed, let me just say you are definitely not alone. There is so much noise out there right now. But today, we're going straight to the heart of the single biggest question non-developers have. Can I build an app with AI without coding? Well, the short answer is yes. You absolutely can build simple apps, automations, and internal tools with AI without traditional coding. But there's a massive catch.
Because here is that massive catch. Without coding does not mean without thinking. This is pretty much the core maxim we're going to follow today. You still have to do the heavy lifting of defining your app's purpose, organizing its data, figuring out the users, anticipating the failure cases, and setting up a rock-solid review process. Low-code AI reduces the technical friction, sure, but your human judgment and clear thinking, those are still absolutely essential.
All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're unpacking the non-developer's guide to low-code AI tools and workflows. We're going to cut right through the hype and give you a really clear, structured framework for choosing the right tools safely. We'll look at what actually works, what absolutely fails, and how you can start building systems that you can genuinely trust.
Here's our roadmap for this explainer. We're going to navigate low-code AI, find your level on the AI Builder ladder, match the right tool to your specific use case, walk through a real workflow example, discuss the risks and costs, and finally, leave you with your 30-day starter plan.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, Navigating Low-Code AI and Demystifying the Tools. A big reason choosing one of these tools feels so hard isn't because there's a lack of options. It's actually because, from the outside, so many of these platforms look practically identical, even though they solve fundamentally different problems.
So what are we actually talking about here? When we say low-code AI, we mean tools that use visual builders, pre-built connectors, and AI prompts to help you build with minimal manual coding. But notice the absolute key phrase here, they reduce technical friction. They don't eliminate it. A traditional software project means writing code, connecting databases, managing permissions, the whole shebang. Low-code AI simplifies parts of that, but it definitely doesn't guarantee your result is secure or scalable unless you set up a clear structure.
And this clears up probably the most common beginner misconception out there. Generative AI chatbots, like just opening up ChatGPT, are fantastic. They're great for brainstorming, writing, and planning, but a chatbot alone is usually not a low-code platform. A low-code AI workflow, on the other hand, is a system that actually connects your apps, stores your data, triggers actions, and manages the output. Asking an AI to write a customer reply, that's a generative task. Creating a workflow where every single new support ticket is automatically summarized, saved in a database, and drafted as an email, now that is a low-code AI workflow.
To figure out exactly where you should start, we move to Section 2, the AI Builder Ladder, finding your level. This is a brilliant way to wrap your head around where you belong in this ecosystem.
Think of these tools like rungs on a ladder. Level 1 is AI chatbots. Super easy, great for planning. Level 2 steps up a bit to workflow automation, which is simply moving data from point A to point B. Level 3 brings in no-code app builders for straightforward portals. Level 4 gets into low-code platforms for custom business apps. Level 5 introduces AI coding assistants, and this is medium hard because you're dealing with real code. And finally, Level 6 is a full developer-built system. The golden rule here? Please don't climb straight to the top. Your goal is to pick the lowest level on this ladder that safely solves your problem. Seriously, don't build a complex app if a simple automation will do the trick.
Now that we've got our theoretical ladder, let's look at Section 3, Match Tool to Use Case. Let's map these levels to the actual platforms dominating the market right now.
Here's how this looks in the real world. If you just need simple automation to move information between apps, look at tools like Zapier or Make. If you need a screen or an interface for people to interact with, you want app builders. Airtable is amazing for structured data. Glide builds apps straight from that data, and Bubble is for much more complex custom web apps. If you're building a conversational experience, you're looking at chatbots like VoiceFlow or BotPress. And if you're actually willing to dive into some basic coding, AI coding assistants like Cursor or GitHub Copilot are the way to go. The big takeaway, don't compare Zapier to Bubble. They belong to completely different parts of the ecosystem.
Let's move from theory to a concrete application in Section 4, a real workflow example. We are going to automate a new lead inquiry from a sample client named Sarah Johnson.
Here is exactly how this build works, step by step. First, we collect the lead using a simple Google form asking for name, email, budget, timeline, that sort of thing. The second that response hits, a Zapier trigger wakes up the automation. Next, an AI prompt steps in to take that nice, clean, structured form input, and it summarizes and classifies the lead. Then, we save both the original data and the AI summary into a Google Sheet for a human review. Finally, the system creates a Gmail draft addressed to Sarah. Notice what makes this work. Clean, structured input fed into the AI gives us a reliable summary. We aren't just throwing messy, raw text at a language model and hoping for the best.
Now, right at the top of that Gmail draft, we inject a crucial, literally capitalized safety measure. Draft for human review, do not send without checking. This is absolutely not just cosmetic. It is a vital safety net. It heavily reinforces the concept of human-in-the-loop oversight. Sure, the AI generated the draft, but a human has to review the summary, check the tone, and physically decide to hit send.
And honestly, that leads us directly to this really empowering realization from our source material. The strongest part of the workflow was not the AI itself, it was the structure around the AI. The AI summary was great, sure, but the clean input, the predictable output, the spreadsheet for review, and creating a draft instead of an automatic send, that structure is what actually makes the whole system trustworthy and safe, especially for a beginner. But, as you start scaling these tools, things can definitely go sideways. That brings us to Section 5, risks, costs, and safety. We have to talk about the hidden traps.
Look at these specific traps. First, AI can misunderstand things or just invent details outright. Hallucinations that sound super confident but are totally wrong. That's annoying in a draft, but it's incredibly dangerous if it triggers an automated action. Second, sensitive data exposure. Workflows move your info across forms, AI models, and emails. You have to rigorously check what platforms store your data and who has access. Third, unpredictable scaling costs. What's cheap as chips during a demo can absolutely explode in production based on token usage or workflow runs. Finally, broken API integrations. If an app you rely on changes its connection or its pricing, your beautifully connected workflow might literally break overnight. You have to monitor these setups. So, to avoid those traps, you've got to establish really clear boundaries. For example, safe customer support with AI involves answering questions about business hours, delivery policies, or just drafting replies for a human to review. Risky customer support? That's letting AI auto-reply to complex, angry complaints, or no way, having it handle payments directly without any human oversight. You absolutely must give your AI strict boundaries on what it can answer and when it needs to hand the wheel back to a real person.
Okay, let's bring all this home and put it into practice with Section 6, your 30-day starter plan.
Let's walk through a highly actionable, structured timeline to get you building safely. Week 1. Do not go test every single tool on the market. Choose one clear, incredibly small use case from your day-to-day work, like summarizing form responses. Week 2. Build a private prototype. Use the simplest tool on the ladder that fits, and connect only the bare minimum apps. Week 3. Test it with fake, totally messy data. Deliberately try to break it with incomplete cases and questions the AI shouldn't answer. Finally, Week 4. Document, review, and decide. Note what triggers your app, where the data goes, and who reviews it. Then decide if you want to improve it, pause it, or rebuild it. This is exactly how you build absolute confidence gradually without the high stakes. So, I want to leave you with one final provocative thought. Which low-risk workflow will you automate first? Remember, the best low-code AI tool isn't the one with the flashiest features. It's the one that helps you build a useful, testable, and completely safe workflow today. Start small, test thoroughly, and always keep a human in the loop. I honestly can't wait to see what you build.